there everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Now in my last video I showed you how to make up these fabulous, very pretty little seed packets, great for gifts, great for seed swaps. Now I do know a lot of you have been having a go using up your paper stash. I've got this lovely vintage looking paper here that I've had for years, so I had a go and made up a set. I do know that some of you have been cutting up those flower or garden magazines, very appropriate, maybe newspapers, anything that you can get your hands on. But what I'm going to show you in this tutorial is this fabulous little box. So it's just the right size to put these seed packets in. You can decorate as you wish, maybe give this as a nice gift. Just the perfect size to add those seed packets to. I've added 7. You could easily get 8 or 9 in here. Now I will show you here. If I just put my seed packets in like this, they would fall all over the place. So I will show you how I've made this little part up here to keep these seed packets, as you see they want to escape, standing upright. So this works out a perfect size, approximately 3 by 3 inches and about 1 3/4 inches high. Once you know how to make these up, you can then, what I'm going to show you, I have made a slightly larger one, which I'm going to use in a different tutorial. This is like a memory decks type setup when I'm going to be making some scrapbook cards here. This is 4 by 4 inches, and I will just at the end of this video just give you the measurements if you wanted to go ahead and make a larger box. But for this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this one. So for this size box you're going to start with a piece of paper which is 10 by 10 inches. Now I took this piece from this botanical vintage paper pad. Now this, I believe, was bought in the range. My daughter actually left this behind when she came to visit once, and I've been using it ever since. Just look at these designs here. Now you don't need it to be a double-sided paper, just one side is just fine. Okay, so I believe she got that from the range, and that's botanical vintage. Now this piece of paper, which was originally 12 by 12, one of the strips I am going to keep because this little insert in here I made up with one of the strips. Now I'm going to turn it over because obviously I've got a light on in here and it is reflecting somewhat, so I'm going to be working on the reverse. Now I am going to be using my 12-inch scoreboard to make the scores, but you can, as I said in the last video, you could use a ruler and maybe a blunt knife. Okay, so just as a warning, if you're going to do that, make sure that you have something hard protecting your table. So I've got my print, which is going to be non-directional. I would suggest you use that because there's lots of folds in different directions. So we've got no direction on the pattern. Okay, and this is how we're going to score. So we're going to score at 1 3/4 of an inch. I tend to do it twice. Then it's going to be at 3 1/2. Then it's going to be at 6 1/2. Then it's going to be at 8 1/4. Oops. Okay, so hopefully you can see those score lines. I'm then just going to turn my piece of paper clockwise. I'm going to do exactly the same. So it is 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 6 1/2, and 8 1/4. Okay, so if you can see that, you're going to have your scores like this. Now, if you can see the square in the middle, this is the actual size of your box. Now, I've just gone ahead and folded at those score lines just so that you can see them a little bit better. Normally, I would cut and then score afterwards, but just so you can see them on camera. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some cutting, and again, like I did last time, if I can just find it, I'm going to just show you this example. So what we're going to do, on this side facing you, we're going to cut up here, we're going to cut up here to this score line across, jump across, cut up to this score line, cut up to this score line. Then we're going to flip. So this was the opposite side. We're going to cut up exactly the same place. Then we're going to cut away. So if I'm going to show you using this here, where we've cut up, you're going to cut this section away. Cut up, you're just going to cut this section away. The same here, we've cut up this line, you're going to cut away this section. We cut up this line, you're going to cut away both of these sections. Then you're going to flip and you're going to do exactly the same on the opposite side. And then if I just show you what we should end up with, it's this here. So you can see we have got this little sort of flat bit here where we cut up, but we didn't cut this part away. Okay, so if I just show you that example one more time, you can, if you're on your phone, if I just pull the camera up slightly, if you're on your phone, you can take a screenshot or maybe take a picture of the screen. Okay, so where I've scribbled, we're cutting that away. This is a cut line. You should have a little flap. Okay, so I'm going to do mine and then I'll show you again what I end up with. So again, that is what we end up with. Now you could see cutting on camera is not easy. The camera gets right in the way. But now what we need to do is to glue. So I'm going to be gluing this end first. Then I'm going to turn and do exactly the same at the other end. So these flaps here need to meet and be glued here. Okay, so I'm going to get my art glitter glue. I love this. It does dry nice and clear. You can use adhesive tape or you can use whatever glue that you do have. That's just fine. What I'm going to do to start with is just put on one of these flaps here, just a thin... Oh. That's not easy to do either on camera, I think, because I sort of wanted to make sure that it was going to come out, so I put a pin in the top of that glue to start with. Okay, and then as you see, I just brought one flap behind the other. I'm just going to hold that in place for just a few seconds, and then I find it easier if I just try and leave these flaps out of the way. Then what's going to happen is this flap is going to come up and over. Okay, so you can glue on just this part and this part. Doesn't need to be too neat, you just don't want it spilling out too much. Okay, so I'm going to put some on there, some on there. Again, you can use tape or whatever glue that you have. It's going to come up and over. Okay, and then I tend to use my bone folder or your blunt knife and just sort of squish that down nice and neatly. Okay, so that is our first end. I'm going to just flip. We have these two flaps here, so I'm going to glue and hold those together, and then we're going to go up and over again. So there we have either end glued into place. All I'm going to do now is put a spot of glue on these flaps here. Okay, that one there, and then I'm going to turn and then just push that flap down. Again, I'm going to take my bone folder and just neaten that off as best that I can inside. I'm going to turn and then I'm going to do the same to this flap here. So there you have it, nice, quick and easy, a little box. So now I'm just going to grab that strip that I cut off originally and show you how to make the insert. So I have my scrap piece of paper, so it works out 2 inches wide, and then I've cut it 6.5 inches long. Now what I'm going to do is just place it on my scoreboard lengthways, and then I'm going to score at every 1/2 inch. Okay, so just go along and score every 1/2 inch. And then I'll show you how we fold. If you count your little segments here, you should have 13. Then what I need to do is to decide, do I want it this way facing or this way facing? I've decided to keep it white facing up so that it matches the bottom of my box. Now, and this decides which way we're going to fold to start with. So we need to fold this. We're going to fold towards us first. Then we're going to fold away. Okay. Then if I show you the insert, we actually go along. Then we come up, then we go down and along. So we want to leave this part here. Then we want to fold towards us so that this part goes up. Then we fold away. Okay, this is easier if you have it down on your table. Then we're going to leave this part. We want this to fold towards us. Then we want to fold away. Again, if I place that down, you can see what's happening here. Leave this part, fold this part up towards us, then fold away. Again, push it down, and then we just leave this part here. So if I show you when it's all folded properly, you should have a flat piece here. You'll have up, down, flat, up, down, flat, up, down, flat, up, down, and then end with flat. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, should we call them compartments? Then what we're going to do is turn, and then where we have these parts here, we're going to glue. Okay, so I'm just putting glue on one side, and then you will need to hold this together for just a while. Okay, so when we turn over, that's our first sort of upright. Then it's flat, and then this next valley here, we're going to pop some glue. Then we're going to hold that together. Again, if I turn that over, we then have two uprights. Then it's going to go flat in this next valley here. We're going to pop some glue. Obviously, I need to leave a bit more time, but it's not easy when you're demonstrating. What would be fantastic now is those little wooden pegs that I showed you last time. They will keep it all nicely in place while it's drying. I'm just using my fingers in a very fiddly way. It's very Blue Peter, isn't it? And then that's the last valley there. So I'm just going to hold this to dry off screen, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So it has now dried enough to hold. So when I turn over and place that flat down, you can see we have this lovely insert. So it just divides the box up into little compartments. So all I need to do now is just add some glue all the way around on the bottom. Okay, and then we're just going to place, I'm going to eyeball this as, you know, as centrally as we possibly can. So you're going to need to have a compartment at the front, and then I tend to keep this as central as I possibly can, a compartment at the back, and all of those in the middle. So you can use something to just sort of push down whilst that's just drying and holding it in place. Okay, that's as neatly as I can do it on camera. There you go. I'm just going to let that dry, but you have your little insert there. So there you go, and now all you need to do is decorate it like I did with this one. What I actually did here is I cut out using my die cutting machine, but you can certainly get stick-on letters at Hobbycraft, craft shops, and then all I did was just added this little sticker here. Now that was from a set of toppers, that's from Hobbycraft, so anything like these would be perfect. Again, from Hobbycraft, I got these stickers here. Now I thought these were appropriate. All I need is plants. You grow, girl. That pack, as I say, is from Hobbycraft. These adhesive letters, again from Hobbycraft. They come in a set, and you've also got numbers on the back. As I said in the last tutorial, I tend to use my scraps as labels, so you could write on here and then just stick that on the front. Again, this is from a set from Hobbycraft. Anything that you want, you could just decorate these as you feel fit. But there you go. So all I need to do now is add my packets. And this would make just a fabulous gift. Now, I did say at the beginning that I had made a larger one. I'm going to be showing you this in a different tutorial. This is all going to be about memory keeping, so memory decks inspired, but I did say that I would give you the dimensions. So this comes out at 4 by 4. I started with a sheet of paper 12 by 12. I scored at 2, 4, 8 and 10 inches. I then turned as we did before and did the same. So the actual technique of putting together will be the same. The piece of paper for the insert, I believe I left that 3 inches wide and then 11 inches long, and then again I scored at every ½ an inch, so you could make up a larger one if you wanted by using those measurements. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, then please do give me a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment down below, and I will see you here next time. Bye-bye.